to be exact. We've got our first preseason match of the summer tonight against Bournemouth. It's a 10:30 p.m. kickoff here on the East Coast, 7:30 local time out on the West Coast. And boy, oh boy, if you're like LL Cool James, it's going to be a wonderful 3:30 a.m. kickoff for you across the pond, or possibly even later than that. I've got my co-defendant Ryan here. Glenn is probably stoned and thinking he's on his own island somewhere, not really sure where he is. He might be along, he might not be. We'll make the most of it. Let's get to it. How's it? Welcome to another episode of Loose Cannons. I am the bearded one. One of the bearded ones. James is rocking a luscious chin mane down there. James, thanks for being here, buddy. How are you? How are things across the pond?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate again being invited. It's I know last week we spoke way longer than we thought we were going to, so hopefully we don't do it again. But if we do, I don't mind. I haven't got any plans, so it's all good.
I got to work at 7:00 tonight, which means I got to leave here by about 6. Other than that, I'm good. Looking forward to it. Hi, honey. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Whoa. Don't come at me with that voice. Don't come at me with that voice.
Sorry.
He went all Clive on us.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, Clive responded to me yesterday. I asked him if he was going to be in Philly. Unfortunately, he said no, but he did respond to me. So pat myself on the back for that one. How's it up in Connecticut, sir?
Cloudy, crappy. Not great. Not like it is in California. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, it's hot and humid and nasty and dry and everything else here in Pittsburgh. But anyway, so we're going to get to it on a little bit of a preseason preview. I thought we would start by, of course, Glenn thinks we were starting at 4. Here we are. That might be my mistake, actually. I told him, fucking, whoops. Yeah, whatever. Anyway. Nope, I didn't tell him the time at all. Whoops. Anyway, yeah. So preseason preview. We'll look ahead to that, but first we're going to start with. First, we'll start with a little bit of current events, and I guess probably let's start with. I don't know anything about this, so I've been looking and I can't seem to find anything at all about the Tomiyasu injury. But one of you two fill me in because I don't know what happened. I have no idea what's going on. I know he didn't travel over here, but I don't know what the injury is. I have no idea what happened.
It's his knee. They're saying he'll be out 2 to 3 weeks.
So it's not horrible.
Yeah, he heard it in training apparently. So, well, yeah.
I mean, if Glenn were here right now, I can hear it. At least you didn't kick a ball for a gender reveal.
Dude, if he brings on, he will. I shouldn't say.
I know he will. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. We'll all laugh at him. It's what we do. Well, all right. So that covers that real quick. I mean, James, you want to? I mean, let's do this. The Tomiyasu injury bug thing. The guy. Here we go again with another player that just can't seem to stay fit. Are we dealing with another Thomas Partey where when he's healthy and he's in his prime, he's one of the best players on this team, but it's the availability thing? Would either of you look to move him on this summer based on past injury history? I mean, the guy can't stay healthy a full season.
So for me, I think if he gets significantly injured for a significant period of time during the season, then yeah, I would consider this time next year potentially, looking at maybe shipping him out and upgrading on that player. However, the difference for me between him and Thomas Partey is that when Tomiyasu comes back, regardless of when that is, and regardless if you put him at right back, left back, or centre back, his mobility doesn't dwindle and his ability doesn't dwindle. Whereas with Thomas Partey, I think the more he's been injured and the more time he takes away, although sometimes in certain games against certain opposition, he does look to be at the level that he normally is. He's not always as solid as, he's not as solid or dependable as Tomiyasu is for me. That's the difference. But I totally understand it. Tomiyasu, in a way, is becoming another extension of what we've got with Tierney, in that that's a fantastic player, but how much can you rely on that?
Yeah, that's kind of my thing with it is just we don't get a full season out of this. And yes, the ability is still there when he comes back, which is good. But I just, excuse me, I feel like he's on the cusp of a catastrophic injury. I just feel like he's there for some reason. So, Ryan, anything to add on the Tomiyasu situation?
He's definitely important. Don't get me wrong, but I think the difference between him and Partey is I think Partey is a little more important to our 11. I think he offers a little. I'm gonna kind of contradict myself in what I say, so hopefully you guys understand. I think Partey offers something that nobody in our squad does, but I do think Tomiyasu is more of a specialist in the fact that you bring him on for a game like we did against Liverpool at one time, and he absolutely killed it. He could come on for an odd game here and there and do a job and man mark Salah, man mark someone, and put in a shift. Whereas like Partey, kind of needs a couple games, kind of what James is saying. Tomiyasu can just go right in and do a job for you. And I think that's I don't know, that's exactly why we bought him, but that's kind of what he's turning into, just a defensive specialist, and bring him in for a game, having him do like a set job, and him doing it. I mean, he's one of our best defenders. I'm not too worried about it. With all the fullbacks we're bringing in and all of the defensive depth we're getting, I don't really have anything to sell. But I guess I will lean on James a little bit and say, yeah, if he has a pretty bad injury this time next season, he'll definitely be a conversation piece for keep sell loan.
Yeah, I agree with the. There are other people that can do Tomiyasu's job for him when he's out. I don't think the loss is as great as it was when Thomas Partey would get hurt, say 2 seasons ago, versus now. So, hi Glenn, how are you?
Hey.
Just going over a couple of current events things. Tomiyasu did not make the trip over to the States. He tweaked a knee, out for 2 to 3 weeks, so they left him home to presumably rest and then rehab. Quick question, and then we'll kind of get into some names that are linked with coming in. But are you at all troubled? We're not going to get into any names with this, but are you at all troubled with the lack of movement with bringing in a new number 9?
No, not at all. And as far as I'm concerned, we need a midfielder. We get one midfielder, and we'll be fine. We'll give our strikers till January. Just my opinion.
Fair. I like it. James?
Worried is too big of a word for me at the moment, but I do. The need is there, but right now I'm not worried about it. If this is, season kicks off properly in 3 weeks' time, if it gets to about 1 week or 5 days and we still haven't got one, I might be saying then I'm slightly worried, because it's definitely an area we need. Last season, no matter how good we were, 42% of the goals that we scored were from set pieces and penalties. So if that doesn't indicate to you that you need one, I think, and you need a specialist in that scenario. As much as we talked about Havertz last week and how we were impressed with how he turned around we definitely need a specialist. A guy who I'm primarily in the box and I score goals. We need to find basically a cheaper Mark II Haaland if it exists, and I think we'll do that eventually. The link for Sesko was so strong that I feel that we're definitely going to go back in for the striker market, and if not, then we definitely need a better wide player with higher output than what we got from. I'm not writing off Martinelli, but we need someone that's definitely can come in and do that job.
There's some words I never thought I'd ever hear, at least for a few years. I'm not giving up on Martinelli. I
thought he was going to say, "Don't swallow." Sorry, I couldn't resist.
There's a lot of people in the fan base that are, I'm not sure about this guy, and I don't understand it. I don't know how you can look at Martinelli and say that this guy's a write-off now, just after one bad year. It's a ridiculous take for me.
I apologize. I thought that was your words. I apologize.
No.
That's a good point. I kind of wish we didn't have such a. For once, I'm actually relatively prepared and trying to stick to an itinerary with this show. That would be that if we've got time, I think we're going to circle back to the Martinelli conversation because it's an interesting one, and I agree. I don't understand the people that are writing him off after one poor season. But anyway, we'll circle back to that. Ryan, any concerns on your end that there haven't been any more links with a number 9?
No, I mean, I think if we want to get to the next level, we need to buy a number 9. That's an upgrade on Havertz and Jesus. But I think if we don't sign a number 9, I'm not worried. I think we could still compete. I think we were linked with Sesko heavily because it was such a good deal, and it was something that we could have definitely capitalized on. What worries me is not necessarily from a striker standpoint. I think so. I was talking to my friends about this the other day. I sometimes compare Edu and Arteta to my mom going shopping, where she has a list of stuff she needs to get, but if she's got like a coupon for like half off of, Chips Ahoy, but we're an Oreo family, my mom's getting 2 boxes of Chips Ahoy. And it's like, cool, yeah, you got a deal. Like, I'm proud of you. But if we don't need that, just because you have a fucking coupon doesn't mean we have to get those items. And I do feel like Edu and Arteta are really, and every year, I think they've been kind of like working in tandem. It's always been a thing how like they're looking for a deal. And I get that. And I appreciate that. And I think we've made really good deals. And I think the Sesko would have been an amazing deal. But sometimes just because you have the fucking coupons doesn't mean you need to cash in. Like, just get what we need. And if you have to pay a little bit, you have to pay a little bit, because we're at that point where we're not making that jump from 8th to top 4. We're not worrying about getting in the top 4. We're worried about winning Champions League. We're worried about winning Premier League. So now you're just buying players to like make up a difference of 3 or 4 points, So like, to me, like, your buys are not necessarily in those kind of deals usually. But yeah, I think we can persist without a 9 for now, but I think that might change for me when I see us. Oh, look, you're here again. That might change for me when I see us, play a preseason game. So
can I get caught up on the 15 minutes I missed because I thought the show started at 4 and I was setting up so that I wouldn't have any technical difficulties.
You just missed us talk about Tomiyasu. That was it.
It was Tomiyasu and like a brief intro. You didn't really miss.
So we didn't get into anything like.
No, we're gonna do all the preview stuff. We're not even. I don't really know that we're gonna get into that now.
Okay.
But we are going to – I'm going to bring up a couple of names here, and I'll start with the first one being Ricardo Calafiori.
Also, can I just say really
go
quick? I am a Chips Ahoy guy. I'm not just Oreos, but it was just for the story. I'm not hating any Chips Ahoy people. Chips Ahoy is a very good cookie, but yeah.
Nobody cares.
People do. Listen, I don't want to be labeled as an Oreo household. Oreos are great. They're fantastic. I like Chips Ahoy every now and then. Like the mini ones. I'm a cookie guy. So period. End of discussion. You put a Chips Ahoy in front of me, I'm gonna fuck it up.
You put there's the first one. It was on me 15 minutes in. You give me an Oreo.
I
That's
definitely
okay.
dropped an F-bomb.
All right,
Did you?
BG,
I
don't
did,
worry
yeah.
about it because the YouTube algorithm, as far as the F word goes, is the first 5 minutes.
Oh, nice, even better. So, I don't know why.
Well, good thing you were late, Glenn.
Sorry, I'm messing around with graphics over here. But anyway, the Ricardo Calafiore thing seems like it's now pretty close to getting over the line. I hear everything is done now. It's down to the medical. Is there a chance that we could see Calafiore in Philadelphia, James?
From what I've seen and from what I've read, apparently he's medical's booked in for tomorrow, and then he flies out for Saturday. Don't think he'll play Saturday, but I think at least, obviously SoFi is the Kroenke Stadium, so maybe they'll be like, here he is, and he can do a little, walk and wave type thing in his shirt or what have you. They can present him before the game, just being like, this is who this guy is. And we'll see from there. I mean, I'm very happy that we got this signing done. Ryan, like you're in the group with me and Andrew and everybody else. You saw what I said earlier. So I get very tentative about Italian players from the Italian league.
Mm-hmm.
We've been done over too many times. Like I said in the chat, you see these Italian players linked with Arsenal. You get excited, and then all of a sudden they end up at Juventus on a loan with an option to buy spread over 7 million years for some magic beans and Chatterbait tokens. So, you just got to be very, very careful with how you deal with these Italian clubs. But Bologna have been quite good to us with the Tomiyasu thing in the past. So I think it's a deal that they wanted to get done. Obviously, they want the money because Basel as well have part ownership, obviously still on clause with the player. So they wanted to get their money's worth as well as Bologna getting their money's worth. And that's all sorted now. So, yeah, just happy to see what he looks like for Arsenal and where he's going to play.
Can I ask you guys something? Because James just reminded me of something, and this is related to what James was talking about with Italian players. Are we linked to an Italian striker? Because I remember looking at it yesterday, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to, even though I know I shouldn't, I'm going to look up, do a little research on him, and he was really good, and I can't remember his friggin' name. I check out James.
Is it Chiesa, Glenn?
What was that?
Is it Chiesa?
Yeah.
From Juventus. Yeah.
Is he any good?
He's very, very good, but at the same time, it's so hard to get players out of Juventus. Yeah, they're notoriously difficult to deal with.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just let me explain to James and any new viewers or listeners is that in transfer season, I tune out unless the article starts Arsenal sign. So that's why I had to ask that. Okay, go ahead, guys.
No, I think really that's it. I mean, Ryan, do you have anything to add on Calafiore, where you think he might play, how you think he fits in, anything like that?
It's interesting. Our fullbacks are getting there's a lot of them. So apparently QVR inner was a thing. Now apparently it's not a thing, or never was a thing. I don't know. I'm very interested to see, because to me, I think we're trying to get depth at center back, but I don't know. I think Calafiore is probably gonna. I don't know. I go back and forth with Calafiore because I think he could be a really good left back for us, but he's also a very good center back, and I think he's a center back that can kind of, in games we're playing against a team that has a low block where they're not really going to have any attacking threat and they're going to park the bus. I think Calafiore is going to be very important for us if he comes as advertised. And I think he travels really far up the pitch, whether he's playing fullback or center back. Where we are as a team, at least for me, I guess as a supporter, I guess it depends who it is, but for the majority of our signings, especially our first signing, I don't want to signing players that I know are not going to really make an impact in the first 11. And considering we just signed Timber and we haven't sold a fullback, I'm almost reserved to the fact that I think Calafiore is just going to be a depth option at center back. But again, I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see if we could sell Zinchenko. And I don't know if we brought this up last week, but Zinchenko has new representation. He's part of a new agency. So that looks like he's trying to make a move. I don't know. No links have really came out besides that Bayern Munich one, which I've learned to be apparently not true. But But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the player, seeing how he plays. I think he could definitely make an impact for us. I do. For me, I thought we were crowded at defense already. But again, to be fair, I was expecting Gabriel and Saliba to play every game because they're just so amazing. But it's really going to see how our defense kind of unfolds, because we were so good last year. It's almost like you ask the question, like, can we be even better? I mean, obviously you always can be, but we were just so good defensively. Sometimes adding pieces isn't always the answer.
Best defense in the world. I'm with BG. I thought that Calafiori was a done deal, so I looked him up, and I like him. And as far as he goes, it's depth. It's depth, guys. I remember when we got Ben White, and I was one of the idiots that went online and said, what the F do we need Ben White for? One of the 15,000 times I've had to apologize to Arteta with my big mouth online. Calafiori, depth. Great, fantastic. Let's not forget we got Timber that supposedly, according to Arteta, quote, can do things that nobody else on this team can do, unquote. That's the exact quote. I'm happy. Let's get a midfielder. We can't rely on Mr. Balloon Kicker Partey. Get him out.
There it is.
Yeah.
He
worked it in. He worked it in very differently than I thought he would, but yeah, he got it. Yeah,
talking about a fullback, and he goes right into Thomas Partey. It doesn't even.
That's
play
impressive.
That role, I
gotta make up, guys. I love you, but I gotta make up for missing the first 15 minutes.
I guess.
Oh, yeah. Listen, you checked off our
one.
bingo cards, so I'm not upset.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Last one. And James, I'll start with you again. Mikel Merino out of Real Sociedad.
Oh, I like him too. Oh, sorry.
Linking back up possibly with Martin Odegaard in the midfield. Links seem to be getting stronger and stronger with him. I don't really know much about him. He seemed to have a good showing at the Euros for Spain. I will not profess to know much about the player. Ryan, you're shaking your head, so I'll start with you.
Oh no, I don't like him because he scored against Germany and knocked us out.
All right, now be honest.
It was his second goal as being part of Spain. His other goal was a header against Cyprus, and they won 6-0. So it kind of came out of nowhere. I'm a little upset still, so I'm a little salty about him. But yeah, he's a center midfielder. He's old. He's 28. So
oh, good Lord.
I don't want to pay a lot of money for him. I think he could. I think he's a depth option. I think he could be the answer instead of Partey, Jorginho. But in my opinion, I don't want to pay the money we are quoted to paying him. I don't want to pay him a lot. He's valued right now on transfer market at 50 million euros. I don't want to pay anywhere near that. He's 28. Like I said, Jorginho, Partey, what are they, like 30, like they're in their early 30s. Like he's not far behind them. So this is I think worst case scenario, this is just a temporary fix. I don't think papering over the cracks is something not that crazy, but I kind of want someone a little younger. The problem is, and it's been reported, and I agree, I don't think there's anybody really in the window, anybody on the market that could really fit our needs and be like that, mid-20s midfielder that could really put in a shift. But yeah, I mean, if we can get him for a good deal, I don't hate it. Obviously trying to be as non-biased as I can. I don't hate it, but I don't know. I think his price tag might be a little too heavy for me.
James, what's your take on Mikel Merino?
So yeah, I'm exactly the same sort of boat as you in the over here in the UK now. La Liga is behind a paywall, so it's very hard to watch mainly players that play in Spain unless you're getting, YouTube highlights or so. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know everything about this guy when I don't. That's not how I roll. But from what I saw in the Euros, I was relatively impressed. The guy is an 8 though, and we need a number 6. And I do not want Declan Rice to be moved back to 6 to accommodate this guy starting, regardless of how good. This guy is a dueling monster. If you look at numbers and everything else, which, I'm a bit of a dork. Sometimes I like to look at the numbers and the statistics of everything as well. And he's 6'2", which again, Arteta, in terms of midfield, you have to have stature. So he meets that criteria. I don't know if this is basically him looking at it going, I can have a lesser tall version of what I wanted Havertz to be originally, which was my left 8. but this guy could come in and play left. But again, I don't want Declan Rice now to be moved back into the number 6 because I saw that at the Euros. And although Declan Rice had the top stats of, again, reclaiming the ball and duels in the Euros, I think he looked like he had regressed as a player from the player that finished with us in the Premier League in the Euros. And I worry that by making him play 6 again, will he start to regress for Arsenal, which I don't want. I think Declan Rice is such an important and brilliant player that we need to sign a number 6. And again, the rumours still don't go away, BG, about the guy that you said you wanted last week with the same initials as yourself. And
I
don't want him at this club, I do go. That is a number 6, and that is a number 6 that I do know works well. I do enjoy Arsenal having the no wanker policy, as I like to call it, and that guy coming in exceeds the wanker policy.
He exceeds it, yes,
by a massive amount.
I don't know, man. I wanted him when where did Newcastle get him from? Marseille or Lyon? Lyon. I wanted him in the worst way at that point, and
I thought he was a great signing there too. But then he's tainted meat. That's it. He's tainted meat.
I didn't expect the shithousery, the physical shithousery that he brought. We're talking about Bruno Guimaraes, people.
Let's be real. Shithousery is one thing. I think Ben White is a shithouser for us. Being just a complete asshole and just a nasty guy is to me that's not Ben White. You can't put Bruno and Ben White in the same category. Like I know people do sometimes because they're the team's asshole. They're the shithouser. It's like I get it, but I don't know. Like Ben White does it with a smile on his face. Benji has it with I'm going to jail kind of face.
He's that guy, Ryan.
You were doing well till that last analogy. Tell me when I can go.
You know when people have farts and they normally do the pull my finger or they stand in front of you and do a little lean?
Yeah.
Guimaraes is the guy. He pulls the shorts and the pants down and does it, isn't he? He's that guy.
Yeah.
He just takes it too far.
Maybe that's why I like him so much.
I'm with BG. Give me 10 seconds, guys. Ryan and I had this debate a couple months ago about this guy. I love him. Ryan doesn't like the way he plays. I would be thrilled if he was on Arsenal. Okay, that's my 10 seconds.
I mean, okay, obligatory American sports reference. Nobody will know this name. He's Nick Cousins in the NHL. Ben White.
Quarterback?
Excuse me. Ben White is Nick Cousins in the NHL.
Quarterback.
What position did he play?
Who?
Position?
Talking about hockey.
Oh.
Anyway, just bear with me, Glenn.
Okay.
So Nick Cousins is a guy that will slew foot you, get you with the pickle stabber, throw a high elbow, and then won't answer the bell when it's rung. And I'm not saying that Ben White won't answer the bell because that doesn't happen in football, but Guimaraes is the guy that'll just kind of say, I'm not gonna tiptoe around it. I'm just gonna fuck you up. And listen to me. I don't like it, and I do think a little bit of that would come out of his game here. But there's a very, very, very good player there. Look, guys can go to a team, not have a trait at one team, go to another team and then develop that trait, but then leave that team where that trait developed and leave that trait there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Alex Rodriguez was pretty much always a scumbag when he was playing baseball, but then he got to the Yankees and he turned into the biggest scumbag in the world. I'm going to slap the ball out of your glove. Wait, no, I'm just running. Anyway. I get the points with Guimaraes. I really do. And I cannot argue those points. If that's what you don't like about him and you don't want him here, great. That's fine. I don't like it. But I also think that if he got here with the culture that we are developing and nurturing in our dressing room, I think a little bit of that would come out of him. Or is it the opposite? Or he infects our dressing room, and then
it's all conjecture. It's conjecture.
You never know. You're right.
You don't. I don't think he would. And I think the idea of coming to a team that is right there, that is that far away from winning every trophy possible, I think that allure, and the minute he acted up and he hurt the team, I think Arteta sits him down and says, this isn't what I brought you here for. And if you're going to be a part of this team, you're going to knock that shit off because we're trying to win trophies and you're hurting that.
Before
Again, my opinion. Go ahead, Glenn. Sorry.
Before a college player is drafted in the NFL, they have interviews with and they ask them, all these things that to make sure that their personality and the way they act and the way they will act in the future all adheres to the team philosophy, and that's Arsenal. So I think this is silly to do conjecture like this. We're talking about young men with a chance to play for when I last looked, the 6th best club in the world. Only Manchester City ahead of us. Now I want to change the subject because I can't stand.
I'm not. No. You're not getting away from this. No.
Wait,
You're not getting away from this.
Let me just.
He's not a college player,
something.
Glenn. You're comparing him to a college player. He's not a college player. You just said you want to change the subject. I'm not changing the subject. You're saying he's a college player. He's not. He played for Lyon. He was big. He went to Newcastle, made a big move. He's still playing. He's been a professional for so long. You can't just wash this out of him. I don't know what to tell you. Like I get what you're trying to do is compare him to a college athlete and like the interview process and shit. Arteta knows that this is in his DNA. This is what he does. I'm not saying he can't lose this trait. I kind of I don't want to say I'm agreeing with BG, but I understand what he's trying to say. And how, like, if you go to a club like Arsenal, you could kind of lose those traits because Newcastle is known to be a physical team, a bigger physical team. So yeah, it's definitely possible. But I just don't like him. I don't like him as a player. And
see what you did.
I'm not going to stop Arteta.
You had to bring him up, didn't you?
James?
Bring who up?
James.
You did. I didn't bring him up.
No,
How long was my camera?
Jason.
How long was my camera like that? James, I want to go back to something because we got sidetracked because I can't stand these subjective talks. If this guy comes here, he's going to do this. It just makes me insane. And I'm so mad that we just wasted 10 minutes doing that.
We didn't waste any time.
James, you were talking earlier about you don't want Odegaard moved out of his position. And I'm saying this with all due respect. Dude, you see these games. Arteta's flow, you'll see some of the craziest people play. I saw Odegaard playing friggin' defense in one game for like 20 minutes. It's a flowing system. That can't be your reason you don't want him. It can't be. Arteta's a friggin' genius.
Wait,
I don't disagree. No, it basically for me, it was not Odegaard because it was Rice, and it's purely just for people are seeing Moreno and saying that this guy is a number 6, Glenn, when he isn't.
No, he's not.
I'm sorry.
He played 35 games for Sociedad last season. 34 of them were in the 8 role which Declan Rice now plays, and 1 was at number 6.
Okay.
So I can't. The narrative that this guy, the narrative that this guy's going to come into Arsenal. Sadly, this fan base, you've got what I like to call, you've got the realistic people, and then you've got the people that are just happy at everything that this club does.
Right. Okay. So I understand.
Sadly, everything isn't happy clappy. The fact that we can't sell any footballers because we've inflated their wages and given them silly contracts. Certain people can't say that. They've got to keep up this happy, let's all clap hands and have fun because it's Arsenal. And this is the problem, is that you can't sign this guy and say that he is a number 6. Now, what I will say, and I agree with you about Arteta being a genius, he could turn this guy into a number 6, Glenn, because he took Kai Havertz originally as this is the guy that's going to solve my midfield and be a more productive Granit Xhaka, but then he ended up being a better centre forward, which is what he should have always been from the start for me. When we signed him, I thought, if he's the backup striker option instead of Nketiah, oh boy. But I was willing to accept an experiment on it Because, like you said, it's Mikel Arteta. This guy, okay, if Arteta sees him as this, I'm willing to give it a go. But eventually you could see with your eyes that it wasn't passing the test. But if there's anyone that knows about sacrificing a position that they used to play to then play something else, especially in terms of at Arsenal, it's Mikel Arteta. Because Mikel Arteta at Everton was a number 10 that was scoring free kicks, scoring penalties, linking up the play. He was basically their version of what Fabregas, Cazorla and everything used to be for us. But then he come to Arsenal, got told you have to play as a number 6 now because we've got nobody. And he went, okay, dusted off his boots and done it. So if Arteta believes that he can turn this guy into a number 6, I'm all for it, Glenn. But it looks to me as though he's going to be signed as an 8. But if he's an 8 option, if he's not going to be a starter at 8, and we're actually going to buy a designated number 6 defensive midfielder, either Bruno Guimaraes or somebody else, then I'll be over the moon, because we still need the depth. Regardless, you lost El Neni. He was someone that comes on and plays there.
Good friend of the show, by the way, Mohamed El Neni. Good friend of the show.
Yes, we love El Neni.
Mm-hmm. Oh, James, that was the most awesome clarification ever. You swayed me to your side when it comes to getting them, and it was like a mic drop. Boom! You should just turn off your camera now. That was friggin' awesome.
I'm dodging bullets. I'm dodging bullets like Donald, man. That's what I do.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you.
There it is. Yeah,
I will say though, Mourinho, I don't know if he could play 8 in the Premier League. That's what worries me. That's why I think Arteta wants his physical, like his stature, like James said, because he's an aerial dual monster, kind of like Kai was when we wanted to bring him in. I think he wants that in the left 8 role. I don't know. I don't know if he can hang in the Premier League. Being 28, being a little older, I'm not sure if I want him to be our 8 signing. And the one thing I will say, and this is where I think me and James agree on a lot of stuff. This is where I think where me and James are a little disagree. I like Rice the 6. I think right now, if you told me what his best position is, I know James will say 8. I think his 6. I think offensively he needs to be better. But I think, and I said this when we signed Rice, I think that Rice was going to be brought in to play 6, but Arteta was going to coach him to be our 8. And I think he's already made so many strides, so many good, positive, learning and everything like that to be that 8. So I'm excited to see Rice progress. But right now, like at this point, like I just want a solid. I don't even care which one at this point, because I just think Rice, where I don't think he's at his best as an 8. I think he could play 8 for us next season if we sign a really good 6. I think he could play 6 if we sign a really good 8. Problem is, I personally don't know what Arteta wants, and I think, like we were saying, I think Mourinho. Yeah, whatever. Mourinho, who knows? He's the fuckface that scored against Germany. I don't really care what his name is. He doesn't deserve to get his name said correctly by me. I think he sees him as the 8. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see him hang in the Premier League.
I think ultimately, as a coach, a manager, one of your jobs is you have to put you play your best players in their best positions. I'm not sure right now what Declan Rice's best position is. I know the position that he's played the most. And because of that, I would simply say that his experience, playing experience, lends itself to him being better as a 6 than an 8. Here's the caveat to the 6 versus the 8 debate in this system with what Mikel Arteta wants to do. We, on the ball, play so high up the pitch. There is no number 6 acting as that pendulum in front of the back 4 to try and win the ball back, right? Our fullbacks are within 30 yards of goal. We're basically playing Big Gabby at the back by himself. He's ultimately the last line of non-goalkeeper defense. I mean, even William Saliba gets himself up into the play a few times in a 90-minute match. This is, for me, I ultimately think that even if Declan Rice plays as the 6, he could be so high up the pitch that it almost becomes a false 8, if that makes sense. I just see how high up we in possession we play, and all of the players that are within 30 yards of goal. And I think to myself, man, I'm not sure that it necessarily, unless you're bringing in a guy to play the 6 that is just that defensive stalwart who does that sort of traditional 6, that traditional CDM role. I don't know that it matters. I think you bring in, Odegaard's going to do what Odegaard's going to do. He's going to work things from the right side. The other two, I think he wants both of them. I think he wants the 8 to join the attack a lot more, but I think he wants the 6 to jump in to that attack as well and be there to almost keep the ball within 30 yards of goal, we'll say, if what I'm saying is making sense to you guys. So.
See, I slightly disagree in that I think that ideally you actually, in terms of the 6, he actually wants the metronome kind of player. Like
really?
he
Okay.
Yeah. I think, and with Rice, as much as I do agree he can play 6, I look at the progression that he's made as an 8, and I look back at every single big game that we played last season. And bear in mind, we didn't drop any points to the top 6. We didn't lose to any of the top 6, and most of those games, Declan Rice was 8 and Jorginho played 6. But we know that Jorginho's not getting any younger, so we need a more mobile, basically version of what Jorginho does, which is what I think. We wouldn't be having this Moreno conversation if there was a chance that we could sign Zubamendi, because I think by now Zubamendi would already probably be here. Because that's deep down who I think we really want to buy, if we could, is Zubamendi. But I don't think he wants to leave Spain. So I just think it's a complete, no-go sort of transfer. But yeah, I get what you mean, and I understand what you mean. But the big thing for that, and again, hate to tread over old ground, is if Calafiori plays instead of Timber on the left-hand side, which I think may happen, I can see him inverting as well from his side, more so than we do on the right. And then I could see potentially there is where you might get Rice at the 6, because he can sort of hang back slightly, but he's not as, like you said, so far back in that he can't. Because Declan Rice is very good at dictating play. And that's something I think if you solely keep him as 6 and basically want him to do what Pirlo and whatever used to do back in the day, I don't think Declan Rice is that guy. I think he's good at winning the ball high, either playing a short pass to a winger or chopping in himself and then giving it or having a shot himself. That's what I think Declan Rice is really improving at, and what I think he can do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with any of it at all. Yeah, very well said.
James, do you know Graham from Tactical Insight AFTV?
Yeah, we've followed each other for a long time.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall when you two are talking strategy. Okay, go ahead. That's all.
I mean, everything that Stan, you're exactly right. I think in that number 8 role, you're looking for what Xhaka did in his final season, what Aaron Ramsey was so good at doing when he was in his prime here with us. That's what Rambo did. So I mean, everything you're saying here, whoever plays the 3rd man in midfield alongside Odegaard and the 6 has to go box to box. If Rice can do that, great. And I think he can. I do believe that Rice can be that box to box midfielder. So I would say ultimately at the end, if I can put in a last word here on this, it's a good problem to have. I think we have a lot of players who are versatile enough that we're not dropping levels by playing them maybe out of their comfort zone by, going from 8 to 6 or 6 to 8. So different roles. With Brian
and it's not like these players have never done it before. Declan Rice at West Ham played 6 and won him a European trophy. So was captain of that club. So we've seen it. We know that they can do it. It's just at the moment, in terms of what do I think they're improving in and what do I think is better for us, in my opinion, I think him as an 8 is still better. I know, obviously, Ryan, you disagree, and BG, you got some disagreement there as well. But that's what I feel.
I think Rice can be what you're. I think
I absolutely think he can be the 8. I absolutely
when
think he is good enough and talented enough.
I just think when we play lower blocks, which is funny because I think I agree with what you're saying when we're playing against top teams, which is I get it, but like I'm worried about us playing against low blocks, and for some reason I just don't think he has that penetration that we could get in an 8, and I don't know if anyone could do it better on the squad. So I guess like my argument's not that strong, but I just think when we play teams that are going to sit back against us and do nothing, I don't know if I want Rice at that 8. I don't know if he's a guy, but yeah, if we have Jorginho and Rice against a city where it's competition, yeah, I think Rice has came a long way, and I like Rice the 8. It's just to me it's just certain games. I think I feel like from like month to month, I'm kind of changing my opinion about what I want our 8 to be, because I think our trajectory just keeps going up and up and up. That do I want him to be this? Do I want him to? And I also, to be fair, I have BG in the back of my head. Oh, Aaron Ramsey pissed. And I said this. I don't know if you're on the show, James, or not, but Aaron Ramsey pissed me off almost more than Granit Xhaka did. He was in a dueling 8 role, and he was ahead of Giroud 9 times out of 10. He's always the head striker. I'm like, he's always out of position, always not doing what he's supposed to be doing, but he'd always shut me up and score a goal or have a nice play in the box that would really put a really good chance on for us. So I don't know. I don't really know what I want with the 8, and I think it's a testament to me of how good Declan Rice is. That honestly, I'm not even upset if he plays left or 8 or 6. I think it depends who he has with him and Odegaard, and then the third person, whatever. To me, I think Rice just goes, I'll do whatever I'll do the opposite of the third person's best at. I think it's just about who we can find in the transfer market. But I guess also to support your argument, James, I think Rice has a higher ceiling as an 8, and I think he's only getting better. He's going to get better.
Yeah.
As a 6, I don't really know what more he can do. He's kind of doing what he's doing. But as an 8, I think he's still learning, still getting better, and I think he's going to be even better come the next few seasons.
I'll say this will be the last thing I say on Declan Rice as a 6 versus an 8. The other thing with him being the 6 that I think is almost irreplaceable, as I said about that sort of pendulum, right, that swings back and forth, but we have so much possession that we're not really, he wins the ball up high, right, and all of the things that Ryan said. But I also think that he's just he's Maximus at the battle, hanging back and overlooking everything in front of him, and just kind of like, okay, if an instruction needs to be barked out on the pitch where they can't hear Arteta, because let's face it, I don't know how that dude has vocal cords anymore. Like, I'm starting to think that his vocal cords are implants at this point. But there's a guy who can just kind of direct traffic, right? If we lose possession, he can regain it. If the opponent is just trying to clear the lines, he can regain possession of the ball and reset at that 35, maybe 40-yard mark, and advance the ball to the 30-yard mark, and then leave it off to the 8 or to the 6. Jorginho can really pick out a pass for sure. I think Jorginho's vision and anticipation is some of the best on the team. Rice is developing that, but I just think that there's a mentality to Declan Rice that fits that 6 and just can, I guess, just again, American, obligatory American sports reference, quarterback the attack from that position. His sole responsibility, even as the 6, would not be purely defensive, as we know. So I do want to move on here, because this is fantastic, by the way. But I do want to move on because I do want to get into talking about the preseason. The team is in LA. It is blistering hot out there. I God bless them. But we've got a game tonight against Bournemouth. I'm very excited to see how the lineup shakes out. Ryan, I am going to start with you because I know you are, Glenn, you don't pay attention to any of this. So that's why I'm going to Ryan. James, I don't know what your knowledge is on the academy and the younger players. By all means, jump in with anything that you've got. I know that Ryan does pay a lot of attention to this. Some names I know, some names I don't.
Wait a minute. All right. I didn't just negotiate with my wife for 20 more minutes to sit here and not say anything.
Oh, you're going to say plenty. Don't worry. Oh,
well, give me 15 seconds here before Ryan does one of his cookie analogies again. Here's the deal. All right. I do.
Glenn, you ever done Ookie Cookie?
Stop it. Stop it.
Sorry.
I am going to be interested to see the youngsters. And the other thing is, if they're in Los Angeles, weather is the last thing they have to worry about. That's it. I do like this stuff. I would never spend $200 to see an exhibition game, but whatever. Go ahead.
I knew that was coming. Anyway, so I want to talk about a couple of players that we are all, Glenn, you're going to watch, right?
Yes, of course I am.
So give me two players. Do you know the roster that traveled over here?
No, I don't. You should start with someone else.
Okay. All right.
The only name that came to my head was Patino. That
Not here.
midfield. It's the only one that came to my head.
And he's not. He didn't even travel.
He's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, it's lucky
right.
that I just went off because it looks like I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, you'll be fine, Ryan. So a couple of players that, and you said you're going to name players that I haven't even heard of. I have heard of them because I have the roster right in front of me.
Oh,
Do I know anything about them? Probably not.
No.
But a couple of players under the radar that, because the players that I'm interested in seeing, everybody's going to hate me for saying it. So, but a couple of players that are a little bit under the radar that you're looking forward to seeing in action.
Obviously, I think some people are really looking at Setford, the goalie that we signed from Ajax, the 18-year-old goalkeeper.
See, he took my mind. Here, I thought I had it all lined up, man. I'm honestly, like, everybody's going to be impressed by me. And you
I wasn't really going to get into him. I just think I think that's kind of the flavor of the week. That's what everyone's talking about, because when you think of, the tour in America, you think of, okay, the young guys are going to kind of get a lot of game time. Arteta kind of needs to see what he's working with, who needs to go on loan, who needs to be sold. He was the next person I was going to bring up, Lewis Skelly. I don't really want to go that obvious. I think Lewis Skelly is another person. I think he's someone that people talk about Wanyeri. I think Lewis Skelly, if
what
someone is
really,
he's a center midfielder. He can play defensive midfielder. He's a bulk. He honestly, and I said this last show, he's a Reece Nelson, Thomas Partey hybrid, which give him years and give him experience is fucking scary, but he's obviously very raw. He's very young. So I'm not saying he's going to be Reece Nelson and Thomas Partey combined in the Premier League next season. I'm not saying that. I think he can be. He's someone I would watch out for. I know people talk about Wanyeri, and I think Wanyeri is going to hit the ground running. I think he's great. Lewis Skelly is my guy. But the real guy that I'm going to be looking at when I'm in Philadelphia, I'm going to be looking at when they're playing, just to see how Arteta molds him, is Aiden Haven. Or Heaven. I think it's Heaven. He's a center back. He's versatile. He can play fullback. He's the new Rule Walters. I know everyone said, "Oh, we should be selling Rule Walters." We know. I mean, obviously, he went hand in hand with Cozier Dewberry. People were upset with both of them leaving. I watched a lot of the academy last season, and Rue Walters made at least one big mistake every game, it seemed like, or every other game. He was a mistake machine, but athletically, he was just so gifted, and his stature. And again, I think that should be the word of the show, stature, because Arteta just loves stature, and I know me and James talk about that a lot. Heaven is a guy that can play fullback. He can play center back. He's very versatile. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's very young. He is someone that I really want to look at. I think he's going to be the new Rule Walters, and I think Arteta is going to kind of mold him as to what he wants to do. And I know it's kind of funny how I talked about we have so many people on defense. I'm going to be talking about a defensive guy, but let's face it, we especially with center back. I necessarily didn't want to sign a player like Calafiori to be backup to Gabriel and Saliba. Instead, I wanted to develop a player like Aiden Heaven to be that backup to Glad. And I know he's very young. I want to say I know I just have his age right here and I already forgot. I knew he's like 18, 19. He was born in, oh wow, he's a lot younger. He's born in 06. So what does that make him? 17. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what his development is like. It's very early on in this, but I'm excited to see him because I also like talking about people that no one brings up because obviously you're going to say Nwaneri, you're going to say the goalie that we just signed. But yeah, my guy is Aiden Heaven.
Quick question: is ESR coming?
Yes.
Awesome. How I didn't hear that name come out of your mouth, Ryan.
Well,
I want to see your boy.
Well, I was strictly talking about academy players, but
okay.
I mean, if you really want to talk about potential first team players, yeah, I think two players in particular this is make or break for is ESR and Vieira. I think Nelson's leaving. I think Eddie's leaving. Kind of just leaves them two. In my opinion, it's funny. I almost see it as, to do another crazy American sports reference, I see it almost like an American football quarterback competition where they just compete. They compete in the preseason and one guy wins, one guy loses. I think it's very similar, even though they necessarily don't play the same position. I think it's very similar. I think one player is going to come out on top of another, and you're gonna know either by the first game of the Premier League season, or you're gonna know by the end of the transfer window by one of them getting sold or loaned out. I think ESR, I know people are kind of like already are selling them in their heads. I think ESR has a pretty big advantage in this competition. I think that just based on what we've heard, how they don't want to sell him. Arteta and Edu want to keep him. Mikel sees him in his plans. He wants him to stay. But if an offer comes and he wants to move and he wants the first team football, they're not going to stand in his way. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do. And I know ESR has said in multiple interviews, this is my home. This is where I want to be. I want to finish my career here.
Awesome.
That was also a few years ago, Glenn. And this was before big injuries. And we don't know where his headspace is right now. Wearing that 10 shirt it's a heavy crown. And part of me just wants him to like drop the 10 and have a different number and kind of just go back into the fray because it's a heavy shirt to wear in this sport. And I really obviously I want to see him succeed probably more than the average Arsenal supporter, but it's going to be, I think, between them as far as first team football, it's going to be a very interesting competition between the two of them.
James, a couple of players you're looking forward to if you are actually going to stay up and watch the game. I don't even know. Well, the only way you can even watch the game over there is you've got to buy it on the Arsenal website, don't you?
Oh yeah, they ripped them off so bad.
Yeah, but that's how it is now. You know.
Yeah. Quick word here, real quick. Sorry, James, for American viewers. For those that don't know, if you're in America, you can watch it on ESPN Plus tonight. The United match on Friday and the Liverpool match next Wednesday will both be on ESPN proper. So if you don't want the subscription to ESPN Plus, you'll be able to watch those two, but it will only be on ESPN Plus tonight. James, I'm sorry, I stole your thunder.
It's on ESPN Plus, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God someone's got a VPN.
There we go. Yeah. Well done, sir. Well done.
Just off topic. So again, like Ryan, I'm not absolutely, obsessed with the academy and know every single thing about the academy. I follow a lot of the people on Twitter that do know. There are certain people that on Twitter, thank God, the good side of the platform.
So many.
That know these players inside and out. So I had a rough look a couple of days ago. But yeah, just if you're asking me who are the ones I'm really excited to see on this tour, looking at our defensive options at the moment, because there's no Gabriel and there's no Saliba, unless they decide to cut their holidays short, which I doubt they probably will, and I sort of don't really want them to.
I don't want them to at all.
The guy that I'm most excited to watch is Omar Rekic, the Tunisian centre back.
Yeah,
I want to see what this guy can do.
Wait,
Could-
is this? Did
I
you
was
just
I was
say
liking
his
him
last-
2 years ago. I think he would have did something by now. But yeah, that's
Did
fair.
you just
Yeah.
say
He's a
his
big
last name? Did you just say his last name is Wreckage?
Wreckage.
Wreckage.
So
Ah,
RKEIK. Yeah, if it was Wreckage, it'd be amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
he was
it's pretty
instantly-
But then Omar Wreckage sounds like a 1980s WWF. You know, he used to wrestle Barry Horowitz.
it does.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this guy's on fire,
He used to
man.
be on. He used to be on Superstars, getting squashed by like Kamala or something, didn't he? Yeah. He's an enhancement talent because you can't say jobbers anymore because it's offensive.
Oh.
Apparently.
I can't keep up with this guy.
and then-
Go ahead.
And then after that, I'm going to pick our Salah. I want to see if our Salah plays against Liverpool and how good our Salah is compared to the Liverpool Salah. That's who I'm excited to watch. I mean,
Okay.
people are telling me about Jimmy Gower. They said to me, if you like Smith Rowe, you'll like Jimmy Gower.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Jimmy Gower. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know.
the
Yeah.
name I like. I'm like, Jimmy Gower sounds like a kind of sounds like a guy who I meet at the pub to buy pirate DVDs off, like bootleg DVD films or pornos, just Jimmy Gower's got some DVDs in the back of his car. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he's that kind of guy.
So we've
Anything
got
you-
Omar Wreckage, the '80s wrestler. We've
Yeah.
got Jimmy Gowan,
Jimmy
the guy who
Gower
buys-
sounds like a guy that anything you want in the world he can get for 20 quid.
right.
Like he knows a guy that can get it for 20 pounds.
Hey, I know a guy. I
Yeah.
know a guy. My
Yeah,
guy talk
exactly.
to your guy. I know a guy.
James,
I know a
James,
guy.
you know way too much old shit. You should look like one of the Grateful Dead with the long gray hair. That's what you should
Well,
look
it's coming through here. It's like a little bit. That's mainly through stress. And then, no, I do agree with what Ryan said as well. Like we normally do, we very rarely disagree and argue. I think Smith Rowe and Vieira. I think them two. It's so important. I mean, Nelson and Ketty, I worry about because there's concrete evidence that there's people and clubs interested. And I'm like, if they play and get injured, that's money off the table.
Yep.
I think them two, Nketiah and Nelson, even though they're loans with obligations, you're getting rid of the wages. And that is such a big boost for this club in terms of strengthening it to get what we discussed earlier at length. You're going to need to free up some money, and them two are a huge chunk of money each year.
I need to ask James a question because he wasn't here last week. What is the lowest amount you would sell ESR for?
Well, considering we didn't accept a bid of 30 million, I think 35 million is the best you're going to get. So, yeah,
Okay.
35 million pounds is the best I think you're going to get for Smith Rowe. Because as much as I love him and think he's a 50, 60 million pound player, I think you're only going to get 35 realistically, Glenn.
I will take that little bit of common ground with you because you're on fire today. Go ahead, BG.
Well, I mean, nobody else mentioned it, but I think we'd all be in agreement that we want to see Ethan Waneri feature a lot in this preseason. Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to state the obvious here.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
yeah,
there is one other
players.
player that I'm kind of surprised that nobody mentioned, and he has seen some match time with the first team, and that I don't know how to say his last name. I mean, I know how
Sago.
Yep.
Oh, Charles Sago Jr.
I've heard it.
Sago
Yeah,
Jr.
Charles Sago,
Yeah.
Okay, Sago. I've heard it said like Sagway. I don't. So yeah, Charles Sago Jr. Has played for us. I believe he played in a cup match.
Yeah.
Excuse me if I'm not mistaken.
He started off
played
last-
against Brentford in the Carabao. Yeah,
He started off the
Carabao,
season
that's right.
really good, and
Yeah.
the end of the season was even the academy. It was okay. He's small, but I loved him. The beginning of the season, he was like everyone was doing 1 year this, 1 year that. I was like, no. Like Lewis Skelly, because everybody know. I was like Sago Jr. is the guy, but yeah, he kind of tailed off a little bit. I think he's definitely someone to look out for sure.
I also, and again, low hanging fruit. I very much want to see ESR play, and I want to see ESR. I do not want to see ESR play in the left 8 Odegaard or the right 8/10 Odegaard. No, I want to see Emile Smith Rowe. I want to see Mikel Arteta say, "Okay, look, we're gonna try it. We're gonna put you in the left 8. Let's see what you can do. Can you do in that role what it is I want that role to be? Can you be that player? That's what I want to see. If I start seeing Emile Smith Rowe on the left or the right or in the middle or in the Odegaard role or coming off the bench for Odegaard, I think for me the writing would be on the wall there as you're not going to come off the bench and supplant Odegaard in many games this season. That's just
Well, why not? But why not though? Who's his backup?
I don't know that there is one, but I also don't know that
he can't.
but-
he can't play Saliba like minutes though. You know what I'm saying? Let me.
No, I
let me
agree.
preface
I
by
agree.
saying I do not want ESR playing backup for Odegaard. I don't want that. But if that's his way onto the team, I wouldn't. If that's what we saw this preseason, I wouldn't be. I mean, I wouldn't be happy. But he needs Odegaard. Everybody in this squad, including Raya, obviously needs a backup. And I'm not saying this is. I want ASR to make his way into the 11. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge ASR guy. But I don't think I guess that's where I disagree with you. I don't think the writing's on the wall. I think Odegaard needs a backup. I think if ESR plays in for Odegaard, I think the writing would be on the wall for Vieira. Because I think that's where Vieira.
I think the writing's on the wall for Vieira already.
If Vieira,
that's why I'm not really talking about him, because I think
that
the
makes
writing's
sense.
on the wall.
Because I think Vieira's path to this team right now, his path to this team is being Odegaard's backup. I don't see him playing on the wings for us right now, and he's not going to take over that left, obviously, because we have a multitude of guys there. And on the right, maybe backup for Saka, but I think we're trying to make a pathway for Ranieri, and I think Ranieri's pathway is on the right. So I think Vieira is fighting a battle, and he's behind a couple rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see how he is implemented in this preseason. I mean, and let me also say one real quick thing about the I want to see every single player on this tour, from Jimmy Gower to Ben White, to Gabriel Jesus. I want to see them all. I guess the only people I don't want to see, I guess the only two people you could really argue would be probably Reece Nelson and Eddie and Kenya, because they're leaving. But I love Reece Nelson, so I want to see Reece Nelson. Eddie, I don't really care about Eddie. I don't need to see Eddie. I think he's on his way out. So no real big. No offense, Eddie and Kenya. Since I know you're probably watching.
I know. What
I don't really need to see you. You're on your way out. I want you. Fuck it. Play Jimmy Gower as a 9. I'd rather see that. You know.
Yeah.
Bring some blood into some young blood into his team, because like I said, I think Eddie's already kind of out the door anyway.
Let me get Glenn in here real quick, because Glenn, I'm not sure how much time you have left, but I want to ask you.
I'm on the clock now.
I want to ask you, and this will kind of be the last thing then.
Okay.
Your expectations. What do you want to see? Not players, just overall. What do you want to see out of preseason? What do you look for? Do you just focus on wins and losses, or do you?
Oh no.
What are you looking for?
No, preseason's the only thing where I don't give a crap about winning or losing. I like to see the young players, but I'm right in line with everybody else wanting to see ESR shine. It's about time. He's healthy. He's got to get at least a half for every game. If ESR is what I think he is, we have a gem in the rough just waiting for some time. So I really want him to shine like crazy. I want everyone to be talking about him when the game is over. That's what I'm looking for. That's the most I want out of preseason. As far as transfers go, just give me a midfielder for Partey, please. He's gonna get hurt, and that's it. And as far as I'm concerned, we're the favorites to win the Premier League, and we got a shot at the Champions League next season. I'm getting all my
relax on the season preview shit. You got 2 weeks till then.
Oh, okay.
Calm down. Calm down there, buddy. Don't blow your load already.
That shows you how positive I am. And it's not just my heart, it's my head. And the other thing with transfers is I'm not ready to sell someone like ESR for 35 million, but I love the fact that you say he's 50 or 60, James. For me, I'm tired of selling these players for less than what they're worth. Wait, people will pay. Otherwise, we have a stacked team like City, except we did it legally. That's it. And I'm really, James, it's wonderful to see you every time you're on. And Ryan and BG, I love you guys. And thank you, everybody who's watching and who will be watching later. But I got to go. I can hear my kids singing in the background. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I guess I'll break this news since Glenn's gone. I mean, we kind of knew this was happening, but Fabrizio Romano tweeted like 10 minutes ago. Calafiori to Arsenal. Here we go. He's doing his medical in the U.S. He's going to sign a 5-year deal with no option for 4 million euros a season. All things are sorted between Bologna and Basel. So maybe we see him Saturday. I doubt it, but
There is
Maybe
no game. There's
maybe
no
you see
game
him on the
Saturday.
bench or in the crowd Saturday at the very least.
Why do you keep saying Saturday?
Don't we play Saturday? When do we play?
No,
When do we
Friday.
play then?
Friday.
Oh, sorry. I got my days mixed up. Apologies.
Man,
It's a fucking day.
get your shit together. No.
One of you fucks said Saturday.
Yeah,
I
because
heard
it's gonna be
Saturday.
Saturday when James watches them.
Okay,
It's gonna be
there you
Saturday
go.
for him.
I'm catering to James, not you, you filthy bastard. What do you
It's
want?
Saturday. It's Saturday 1 a.m. for me. But
Yeah, there we
Friday,
go. I was
you
talking to
guys, mate.
James. I was talking to the English crowd. All right, leave me alone. Saturday. I stand by
You
Saturday.
catering to the British fan base, right?
Yeah.
I love it, and I love you for
Yeah.
it. Man. We love
Come
you
on.
for it.
Fucking Yankee over here. Come on.
Calafiore. Calafiore.
Yeah,
Someone good. Let
that'd
me
be
know
cool
if I
if
got that.
if we could
Calafiore.
see him on if we could see him in Philadelphia. That'd be pretty cool.
Very much so.
That's someone. There again, that's someone that I'd be excited to watch preseason. Calafiore. There we go.
Oh,
Add him in
yeah.
there as well. We'll chuck him in now that he's here. We'll chuck him in.
Yeah.
But these young players, they might not be your Oreos or your Chips Ahoy, but if we've got a famous Anus and a Lorna Doone there, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah. Right.
I don't mind those either.
Yeah. So expectations, James. What are you looking for with the preseason?
Well, my desk is wood, so I will touch that, as the saying goes over here in the UK.
Mhm.
Everybody to come back healthy is the main thing. And I do agree with what Glenn said. I'm not overly fussed about results. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that when the season of the Invincibles happened, I believe we only won 2 preseason games that whole preseason. Funny enough, in that preseason, Yaya Toure played for Arsenal, and we didn't sign him because Wenger, one, he couldn't get a work permit, but also Arsene Wenger wasn't impressed by him. He was impressed with Kolo, but wasn't impressed with Yaya at the time. So that's always a funny story to go back on. But yeah, I just for me, again, in terms of where players are actually played is interesting for me, and the systems and everything. I don't necessarily like playing Premier League teams before the preseason because you get like what happened last year with what's the little annoying shitbag at Man United, Martinez, when he clattered. He kicked, and what's his name? Ten Hag was all like, "Oh, that's the thing with Arsenal; they're just not physical and all." And it's like, mate, it's preseason, and you're running around.
But you forget also he said they don't play preseason games.
Yeah.
They don't do that. So
Yeah. It's just, it's absolutely ridiculous. But
no, I agree.
Yeah, I'm the expectation for me is just again systems and everything else. I know you talked about Lewis Skelly, Ryan. Big rumor of him being a left back tonight.
Yeah.
Even he's going to play left back tonight. Apparently.
Yep. Yeah.
They reckon it's going to be either Timber or White as a centre half, and then the other one being the right back, and Kivior and Skelly at left back. So I'm interested because, again, I'm with you. I think Lewis Skelly's potential is endless, but Mikel apparently is big on him being this inverted left back now. So I'd like to see what he can do because, again, like we mentioned earlier about him being a genius and changing players into certain things, I reckon that Lewis Skelly's good enough to play wherever he puts him. It's a bit like Saka. We know Saka deep down isn't a left back, but when he plays there, especially when he played there for England in the Euros, still did a fantastic job.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan, anything to add on to the expectation? I mean, I think we're all pretty much in agreement that. I think the only thing you disagree with is you want to beat United. You do care about the win and the loss there.
Yeah, I kind of. At the end of the day, though, like I think that's the game I'll probably really be. I think that's the game I'm really going to be focusing more on, just like us playing well. Whereas I think like tonight and in Philly, it's more of like kind of watching players isolated and watching players, develop on the pitch together and how that translates together. But yeah, Man U, I think I might watch it almost like a Premier League game, which I don't want to do, but I hate Man U. And after that happened last season, I kind of just want to beat them. I do, but I'm going to try to fight the urge as best I can and try to watch it with a an open preseason mind.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the same boat as everybody here. Injury free. I don't really care about wins and losses. I'm just interested to see who plays where. You know, does he actually try different things in the preseason with, tactics and lineups and positions and formations and not wait until the first or second match of the actual season to try experimenting with things like he did last year with Thomas Partey playing right back. Sorry, that's one that's going to stick in my craw for a while. But yeah, just, the biggest thing for me is just injury free. Don't, if anyone pulls up Gimpy, get him out of there. Let's not risk anything. It is just preseason and let's everybody kind of shake hands at the end and move on and be thankful that we're injury free. The last thing on the itinerary was I guess like a Philly preview, since you and I will be there, Ryan. But I don't really know what you and I are going to discuss there. So I kind of thought, unless you had something you wanted to bring up about the Philly trip, I kind of thought I would maybe turn it over to James if James had any questions about anything, going on over here. Just kind of let him ask some questions and.
I mean, I guess for people that really care, there's gonna be a live podcast, not with us. Or maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll do a little vlog thing. We don't know yet. We haven't decided. And dude, why am I already blanking? It's Gunner Blog? Why am I blanking on who's
it's Poorly Drawn Arsenal.
Yeah, I know he's hosting.
I don't know I don't remember who all is going to be.
I had the picture. I had the picture, because I was talking to someone about who's on it. But yeah, we're going to a podcast, and then after party, the beer and champagne will be flowing, and then okay, yeah, Ars Blog, Ars Cast, James McNicholas.
Oh, he is going to be there. Okay.
Arsenal. Apparently, there's gonna be other people there that I don't know about, so we'll see. Should be a fun time though.
Is Ian Wright going to Philadelphia?
I don't know.
Or is his podcast? Is that either later tonight or Saturday?
I know the ambassadors.
Friday.
I know the ambassadors are going to be Gilberto Silva and Theo Walcott, so maybe we'll see them.
Yeah, Theo's already done a few bits for YouTube. He keeps coming up on my Instagram as well, because he's basically doing what Frimmy normally does.
Frimmy.
Yeah, he's doing that side of things at the moment. I think Frimmy's there as well.
Frimmy's here as well. Yeah, I've been chatting with him a little bit. Hopefully, can meet up with him.
Good. Yeah.
So there's a tailgate prior to the game. Tailgate. Prior to the game. That's not really a tailgate.
What do you mean?
It's indoors. It's like in a.
Oh, I don't know. Jesus.
Yeah, like a tailgate is when you show up with your truck and you get your tent out and your coolers and your grills, and that's a tailgate, man. This is like we're going inside and there are bartenders. This is what
for me. Yeah, it's all you can drink. Maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll get some beer pong going. I don't.
We're gonna be fancy. We're so fancy. We're gonna be so fancy on Wednesday. Might go to the baseball game. Might go to the Yankees Phillies.
I might wear a suit. Who knows?
You won't do it.
I have my Arsenal suit. I might.
You won't do it.
No,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm here right now telling you he will not wear his.
No, I'm not doing it because it's going to be way too hot out. Yeah. I'm going to be. I sweat easily. So whether we're inside, outside, yeah. I told BG. I told my friend Connor, who's coming with us. I'm bringing an IV of alcohol. It's gonna be fun though. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah, meet a bunch of people. I hope people watching the show or people that we interact on Twitter are going to be there. It's always fun. It's always fun meeting people. It's always fun just hanging out, chatting Arsenal, and yeah, we have a little nice itinerary too. So
yeah,
we will not be bored by any stretch of the imagination.
Dublin Gooner, it's called a tailgate because here in America we have these things called pickup trucks, and at the back of a pickup truck you have your tailgate, which is what you fold down when you want to load up your pickup truck. And you go to the tailgate and you lower your tailgate and you sit on the tailgate after you pull all of the things out of the back of your pickup truck. And it's just fun to say pickup truck. But
I just want to preface, I am not a redneck. I do not own a pickup truck, but I do participate in said tailgates.
Oh, tailgates are fucking great. You get some cornhole going. You're at a baseball game. You bring your mitt and you throw.
Dude, the last time I was on at a tailgate.
Hang on. What? Cornhole in America must mean a different thing.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Because if you ask someone for a game of cornhole in the UK, you're in prison. You're gonna have to tell me what cornhole is.
Wait, it's
two boards.
I'm not gonna tell you what the UK version is either, because
I know the UK version is.
So cornhole in America, you have two boards set up, I don't know what, 20, 30 feet apart from one another. The back end of the board is raised up and there's a hole at the top of the board, and you throw bean bags and you try to get the bean bags in the hole.
Oh, I don't even know what that's called. I know now you've explained it, but I don't know.
People call it bags, and there's another name for it.
I mean, there are all kinds of names for it over here. I mean, it's cornhole now. There are like cornhole leagues that ESPN broadcasts.
I can't even go onto Google and be like, "What's the game cornhole called in the UK?" Because it's gonna just come up with all kinds.
You know what? I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it. But yeah, we definitely call it something else, but I can't remember what we guys call it.
That's what you see mostly at American tailgate. I shouldn't say American tailgates. That's what you see, especially like American football. That's what you see. You see people playing. They break. I mean, I've got.
It says it's called cornhole.
That's a lie.
Well, I also wonder if there isn't like. All right, so you guys both know what hacky sack is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hacky sack is actually a brand that everybody just started calling it hacky sack because of the brand. It's called footbags.
Yeah.
So the point being, I wonder if cornhole over here didn't become like a brand of cornhole games. Like, hey, you buy a cornhole board and whatever.
I'm not clicking that link.
It's a brand, and that's.
Oh, come on, James. Do it, James.
I'm so not picking that. The fact that it's got a league repulses me.
I think it's just more funny because I know the actual UK.
James, I gotta look it up now. I mean, I feel like I have an idea, but I'm totally sure.
If you think you know, you probably know.
Yeah.
You probably know.
Dublin Gooner, a Twinkie is basically cake with the icing injected into the middle. And if you see what I did there, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So it is going to absolutely unleash hell here in Pittsburgh here in about 10 minutes, probably.
That's fine.
I'm looking outside my window.
Did you look up the weather for next week? It's gonna be nice weather. I didn't even look it up.
I haven't looked it up yet. I would imagine, just given how close I am to it, it's not going to be terrible. So it should be all right. The game is at Lincoln Financial Field, where the Philadelphia Eagles play. For those that follow American football, that's where the game will be. The field will most likely be shit because they really don't care about the field over here. It's not. They're not worried about kicking a ball. They're worried about running. That's all it is. The fields over here for actual football suck. So, boys, I think that's it. I think we've done a pretty good job here. We're at about an hour and a half, and I think we'll leave it at that. James, was there anything else you wanted to know about kind of what's going on with Philadelphia? Or
I can't other than I just appreciate the fact that you guys embrace the club and take the club as seriously as people over here do. Because there's a lot of people, like I keep mentioning, that are very negative on the American fan base. There's people that are moaning about this game being at 3. I'm like, well, sometimes you guys have to wake up at God knows what time to watch games. I'm like, we're asked to do it, 3-4 times a season? Like, in the nicest possible way, grow the fuck up.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I mean,
come on.
Yeah, man. It's sad. I've heard the paper fan thing, and you're just a tourist. You just want to go to a game when you come over. I'm like, understand, I'm not going to England to go to England. I'm going to when I go, I'm going for the Arsenal. I'm not going to go to England.
Yeah. And I don't blame you. If I lived abroad, I would probably only come back to England to watch Arsenal as well.
Well, and I mean, and to be fair, I mean, not to say that I love the country. I absolutely do. It's not home.
Someone has to. Yes.
I
appreciate it.
I mean, listen, I love visiting, but I I'm not planning a trip where, I guess, how do I explain this? I would plan a trip without Arsenal being involved, but why would I do that?
Yeah,
If
unless
I-
you were going to watch the UK Cornhole League. Yeah, what other,
yeah,
what other
well,
reason is
I
there?
mean, hey, let's not take anything off. Let's not take anything off the table here.
Hit up the link, everybody. Let's go.
Anyway, Ryan,
You'd get
last
more than
word.
115 charges in that league. I'm telling you.
Yeah, right. Ryan, last word.
I'm not excited to play cornhole. I'm excited to I'm excited for Philadelphia. I'm excited to hang out with people. I'm excited to obviously see them play. I'm excited tonight to see them play. I really hope that we kind of get a look into Arteta's head a little bit, kind of see what he's looking at. I know he's not going to tip his whole hand just because obviously other people are watching, but also you have a lot of youth players. There's a lot of players that we're going to see today. I don't know what. Oh, that's the website. Yeah, see, it's not that bad. And he's got a trophy too. Yeah, it looks like he likes cornhole.
It's what's happening under that desk that I'm worried about.
But yeah, no, God, I'm excited, and and that's the thing too is there are players that we're going to see over the next couple of days that you may never see in an Arsenal shirt again, whether it's Eddie Nketiah or Jimmy Gower. Not particularly Jimmy Gower, but just players in the youth team that just might not make it. We might loan and then sell. Look at Charlie Patino, someone who he was funny. If you'd asked me this question before the squad was released, I would have said I was most looking forward to Charlie Patino because he came on strong for Swansea. He was a player that we could definitely use in the midfield in that 8-6 area. He can maybe make something. I don't know. I don't know. But he's hanging out with the boys. I don't know who their manager is now, but they fired their manager. They hired another one, and the new manager didn't really play him too much, and he kind of just fell by the wayside. So he's not coming now, and I think he's being sold. Don't know where, but yeah, going off tangent here, but yeah, I'm excited to meet. It's gonna be a fun time this preseason, and hopefully we could get some more info as to our preparation for the Premier League season.
James, last word.
Yeah, no, again, thanks for inviting me on, as always, and appreciate it. And I just hope you guys have a really good time when you go to the game that you go to, and I hope everybody else that's out there has a really good time as well. That's the most important thing. I know, obviously, you're not like I just mentioned, you're not like me where you can get on a train and then within 45 minutes to an hour, you're at the Arsenal. So, yeah, just embrace it and enjoy it, which you guys do. If anything, at times you're even more vocal than some of the fans are over here. Just enjoy yourselves, enjoy all the events that you've got, and have a good time.
Appreciate it, man.
I do want to say one more thing. We are going to have a Philly taco. I hope this time you join me, BG.
Oh, I will. Absolutely. I was thinking about that the other night.
So if people that don't know what a Philly taco is, there's a pizza slice from a Lorenzo's Pizza on South Street. It is bigger than James's head, and yes, James, I'm including your hair. The slice of pizza is massive. You get a slice of pizza, and then you get a Philly cheesesteak, which is steak, cheese. People like pepper and onions, for what have you. I just like cheese whiz and steak. I'm pretty basic kind of guy. You take the cheesesteak, you put it in the slice of pizza, and you roll the pizza on top of the cheesesteak, and you got yourselves a Philly taco. I've had it quite a few times, and it's delicious. And
his butthole, his cornhole, his
yeah. Speaking of cornhole, it's delicious. It's a good time. I'm very excited for Philly taco.
Is it wrapped around the bun?
Yeah, the whole thing.
They make the cheesesteak in the bun and then okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. I want to say Lorenzo. There's places, or I think some cheesesteak places. If you give them a slice of pizza, they'll roll it up for you. I mean, an idiot can roll up a fucking piece of pizza in a cheesesteak. So yeah, the whole cheesesteak goes on the slice of pizza, and then you roll the piece of pizza up, cut it in half.
I can't wait. I'm in.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
It's very, very good. I feel like the last time I went there, the slice of pizza got a little smaller because economy and COVID and whatnot. But even if you just rolled up half of the Philly cheesesteak in a slice of pizza, it's delicious, well worth it.
Sorry,
I'm
I was
excited.
leaning in loads there. I googled it and couldn't see on the picture, but yeah, they look amazing. I if I was there, I would 100% have one.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things in this country that you go into certain parts and you just like you've got to get it. Like in Pittsburgh, we do pierogies, and you got to get a Permane Brothers sandwich, which is there's nothing special about the Permane Brothers sandwich, but it's like a Pittsburgh staple kind of thing. You got to do it. Yeah, it's nothing great. Like I live here. I rarely eat Permane Brothers sandwiches. Anyway, before we do a whole nother show on local cuisines, Dublin Gooner, Stan the Man was in there. Bronx Gunner, Alex was in there. Luke O'Reilly, that's a new name. Hopefully he dropped a subscription to the channel if he has not subscribed already. And there was one other one, Football with Brownie. Nice to see him. Not Another Arsenal Podcast was in there as well. And the Demon King Zorro, there's another new name, was in the chat as well. Thank you guys all very much for being out there. Everyone watching on Twitter/X, thank you guys. If you have not yet done so, please head over to YouTube, drop a subscription on the channel, smash the like button. Don't break your computer in the process, and make sure you click the bell icon so you never miss a show. As you can see, it's getting very dark in here. It is about to storm like hell. So it has been good footy talk as always. Thank you to James, Ryan, and Glenn. And we will get out of here before the rain starts. Good footy talk, boys. We'll see you out there.